Hey, welcome back to the Small Business Mindset. I'm going to get real with you for a minute. And I'm going to ask you a question that's probably going to make you a little uncomfortable, but I'm going to ask it anyways because I think it needs to be asked. So, here's the question. How do you keep the money once you've earned it? Hmm. I think we all strive to make more money because money gives us choices, money gives us access, money gives us opportunity, right? And I think it's all too common where I see clients and friends of mine, they get a windfall. They have some success, and I'm so happy for them because success is what you're aiming for. You're aiming to land the deal, to get the paycheck, to get the payout, to pay it off, to level up, to get extra money in your bank account. But what I see so often is that they can't keep it. They can't sustain it. Their goal is they think, I want to make X, but I don't want to invest X or earn X or, have X in assets. And that's where I want you to really flip your mindset with that. Okay, here's something I'm also going to ask and maybe some great advice that I want you to listen in close. So, if you make a lot of money, you earn a lot of money in a year, you made more money than you ever have. Please, please, please don't go out and buy a bunch of dumb stuff. Now, I know you might buy stuff that's different than what I want to buy. I mean, I am not somebody that's going to go buy a fancy sports car. I will probably take a trip somewhere. That's probably how I would like to spend money in that way. But what I see more often is that they get a windfall. They get $100,000 bonus. Wouldn't that be awesome? And they go buy a fancy sports car. They already have a car, so they don't need transportation. But they and I hate to use the word blow it, but they spend it all in one place. So here's something, a little secret I want to tell you if you haven't figured it out already. Cars are depreciating assets for the most part, unless you're investing in some sort of antique or collectible thing, which a lot of us don't. We tend to buy because it's flashy, because it's fun, because maybe we've had a picture of that sports car on the wall of our teenage bedroom once upon a time. If you're a guy, I know my son has a couple on the wall. And we've visualized it and we've dreamed about it. We're like, if only I could. But here's the real secret. If you want to build true wealth and you want to build a future that's sustainable and comfortable and secure, don't buy a bunch of dumb stuff. Don't blow your money on this one big thing, thinking, oh, well, I have it now. I have it to spend. Now, that's not to say you shouldn't prepare for the rainy days. Yes. And that shouldn't say you shouldn't go out and celebrate stuff, because I think celebration is really a great idea, especially to reward yourself for a job well done and hard work. But what I don't want you to do is not plan, because more than likely at some point in the future, the economy is going to shift. Your customer base is going to shift. Maybe there's something happens in your own life. Maybe you get sick and there's a medical emergency. You can't work and bring in the income you used to. I'm going to also offer you another word of wisdom. Your lack of planning will create emergency situations for you. Because if you don't plan for the windfall, you don't plan for that elevated income, and you don't plan what's going to happen to it when it hits your bank account, you will have an emergency down the road. I almost guarantee it. Because if you think, oh gosh, I have an extra, $500, $1,000, $100,000, I'm going to go spend it on this. It's what I've always wanted to do. But what's your backup strategy? What's currently sitting in your bank account? In our household, we do have this conversation on occasion. I've actually had it recently with some friends and colleagues of mine as well. And we've talked about this. We talk about what would we do if we had a windfall. Now, we're not always in a situation where we can prepare for that, but I want you to plan for that. I want you to dream and think about that. Okay, if everything goes right this year, if everything goes above average this year, and maybe you have income expectations, you say, "Hey, my company is going to produce $250,000 a year in income, which means as the owner, I take half of that, so that's 125. Based on that income, I can sustain this, this, and this." But what if we double? What if we hit 500,000 and my take is 250? So let's use that scenario for a minute. What does that mean? What are you going to do with that extra? I want you to plan for it now, before it even happens, because I want to get it into your mindset and your brain, because then when it happens, you're like, okay, we made the plan. We know exactly how we're going to use this. We're going to put X amount into savings, long-term savings. We're going to invest such and such amount in our long-term or retirement account. We're going to take a certain percentage and we're going to put it right back into the business and make those needed improvements we need to have. Maybe that extra windfall will allow us to hire that extra staff person or salesperson a little sooner than what we envisioned, which drives into our strategic plan because we say, hey, listen, if we're a company that sells something, and more than likely you are, almost all of us sell something, if you can add a member to your team that will continue to elevate your sales and your profits, what a great area to invest in. Conversely, if you don't plan for that windfall, even if it doesn't come for a while or it never comes, but if you don't plan for it, a lot of us get that, itchiness and that, we're excited and we don't know, we act a little erratically. It's almost like winning the lottery. If anyone's ever won the lottery, I never have. If you have, I would love to hear from you. But some comparisons to lottery winners, I think the statistic is 70% of people that win the lottery don't have any money left after about 3 years, which is really sad because that's a great opportunity. If they have a windfall, if they plan for it, many of them wouldn't have to work for the rest of their lives and they'd be able to live a very comfortable life. But if planned for, it's so tempting. It is so tempting to take windfalls or those freebies. And I hate to call them freebies, but it's kind of like, hey, you just won a sweepstakes. You just won the lottery. You just got an extra client, coming in at this one time only. And if you go ahead and spend everything buying the dumb stuff, that's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. And then I think you would be in a world of hurt if you bought that amazing sports car with all your extra cash and then come to find out, oh, you can't pay the insurance on it, or you can't pay the taxes on it, or you can't afford to put gas in it, or you can't afford to keep your normal car because this one is taking up room in the garage. I don't know. And then, come that snowy, yucky day, as we tend to get here in the Midwest, you don't want to take that sports car out because you don't want to hurt it. You don't want to get salt and sand and snow on it. So it stays in the garage. So you can't even drive it for 4 months out of the year. I mean, I want you to think about those things. Yes, I definitely want you to enjoy your success. And yes, I want you to be profitable beyond your dreams. But I also want you to be able to keep the money that you earn. Keep it. Somebody that I've known for a while that has been successful in real estate development in our community gave a speech a few years ago when he won an award. And one of the questions that was asked of him is, what is the secret to your success? Now, he built a business early on in his career and worked in the business for a number of years and ended up selling it a number of years ago and made a significant profit in the millions. And so he sold this company for something in the millions, and he could have retired and he could have just vacationed or sat at home or gone fishing or whatever he wanted to do. He wasn't done working that. And he decided, okay, with his windfall, if we want to call it that, of multi-million dollars that could have set him up for life, his advice was live below your means. And I know it's a simple formula, but he even went farther to say live 2 levels below your means. Okay, that's interesting. What does that mean? I think that's something different than all of us. But if you think about the equation, so let's say I have no idea what he made on his company. Let's say he sold it for $20 million. So if invested right, he could maintain the same level of income that he has always had, whatever that is, and factor that in, and he could just not make any changes. Or he could go out and buy some dumb stuff. He could go buy some fancy cars, buy maybe more vacation homes, I don't know. And then he'd probably have a mortgage on a lot more properties or taxes or upkeep or maintenance and stuff like that. But he decided, you know what? I want to build a different kind of future for myself. I have a comfortable life. And maybe he had already made the plan, coming up on the sale of this business. Maybe he already decided, okay, when I sell the company and I make 20 million, I'm using these rough numbers. I have no idea what he sold it for. I have a plan. I'm going to sell my current house and build our dream house, but I've already made the budget for that dream house and I've already made the plan for that dream house. And I know how much it's going to cost and where it's going to be and who am I going to use. It's just putting that plan into motion. Then with the rest of it, I'm going to invest it in this way and save it in that way and make a plan for these kinds of things. And always have the backup plan. I tell you, as a self-employed person, and some of that works on commission-based a salary, I don't get a regular paycheck. For years, it was a very intimidating and very stressful to try to find security in my income. And I would say for me, and everyone's a little bit different, I would rather have cash in the bank for the rainy day that may never come than to have all the amazing things in my life. And I'm talking about amazing tangible things. Now, some things you can't buy. You can't buy relationships. You can't buy love. You can't buy family, all those kinds of things. But I'm telling you, those things that those creature comforts, the fancy house, the fancy cars, the fancy lake house, the vacation, the jewelry, whatever it is that gets you up in the morning, gets you excited and say, when I have this, I'm going to buy that. Yes, reward yourself. Absolutely. But don't put yourself in a situation where you're way over your head and you're creating emergency chaos in your life. I'd hate for you to be that way. How embarrassing would it be if you had this windfall and you're having uber success and you've maxed out everything you have, but you have everything, you're keeping everything afloat, and something happens and creates an emergency. I would hate for you to have to call your bank and say, I can't afford this car anymore. You have to come pick it up and I'm losing it. Or I can't afford the house, my dream house anymore. I'm going to have to sell it, or I'm going to have the bank foreclose upon it. I never want you to be in that situation. I want you to be so solid in your financial life that you can weather the storm for at least a year. Wouldn't that be amazing? I had someone say to me a long time ago in real estate, which I thought was a very interesting thing. Real estate has its ups and downs. And just like a lot of other industries where you're relying upon the market and, big commissions, little commissions, no commissions, all those kinds of things, I was having a great year. And I'm having a great year this year, which is awesome. And I always set goals for myself. I kind of have forecast, okay, what do I think I can bring in? What's a stretch goal for me? What am I going to plan to do with that income when it comes in? And how am I going to continue to grow? At this time, I had already reached my goal for the year, and it was not even halfway through the year, which is awesome, right? She actually said to me, she's like, great, you can stop working for the rest of the year. Take the rest of the year off. And I thought, what a very interesting thing to say. And I thought, you know what? Technically, yes, I had met my income goal. I had made enough money to pay all my bills and maintain my lifestyle. But here's what really surprised me about that. I was worried about the work ethic and the planning aspect of her comment. And I think it showed true about what kind of person she was in her business. And you might know people like this. They're like, if I make enough, then I can stop. I hope you're not the kind of business owners that ever thinks about like, well, I've reached the goal. I'm done. I can back away. If you think about things in motion, think about a car, wheels turning, a ball rolling down a hill. Something in motion stays in motion. If you put on the brakes and bring it to a complete stop, to get it up and running again. Now, I'm going to use the example. If you think about physics, and I'm by no means a physicist, but in very simple terms, what I mean by this, if you are driving a car and you're like, oh, okay, I'm good. I don't need to drive anymore today. You turn the car off, put it in, and you just let it roll to a stop, and you sit there, and then you're like, oh, but now I need to get to the destination. I need to get the car started again, but you have no gas in the car and you have no way to turn it on. So technically, a car has four wheels, right? So you could put the car in neutral and push it and get it going, right? And you could build up some momentum. And maybe if you go down the hill, you'll build up more momentum. But getting that car started from a complete standstill with no gas and no way to turn it on, it's up to you. It's up to you and your own muscles and your own power to get that rolling. It is a lot harder, isn't it? Than versus if you're just driving along and you put the cruise control on, or you're driving along and you make a plan. You're like, okay, so now I need to stop for gas in an hour, and I'm gonna use this gas station, and then I'm gonna make sure while I'm here, I'm gonna go visit this client, or I'm gonna plant these seeds over here, and I'm gonna make a plan. Because what it does, it keeps that ball, it keeps that wheels in motion, and it plans for the future. I don't want anyone to ever stop completely and think, I'm done for the year. Because when you have to get back up and running, are people going to remember you? Are people going to see your momentum and want to jump on your bandwagon? Or are they be like, where has she been for 6 months? What happened? Did she fall off the face of the earth? Is she really interested in doing business with me? She hasn't been anywhere. She took the rest of the year off. Why would I want to work with somebody that operates in that way? So be careful about that. Make a plan for that. I know sometimes in our business, we get weary and tired and overwhelmed. And here's what my advice I can tell you on that respect. Having a successful business is work, hands down. Earning money is hard work. It doesn't come easy. And I think sometimes we look at each other, the people that have been successful, like, how do they do this? They just happened overnight. And what they don't see, and you probably heard this before too, is all the background work, not only on their business, the planning, the preparation, the spreadsheets, the strategies, the collaborations, things like that, but it's also up here. It's getting clear in your understanding of who you want to be and what you want to project and how you want to live in the world. What might be important to you, it might be totally as a different priority for me. I mean, I've already shared, I love to travel. In fact, that's probably where I spend a lot of my extra disposable income because experience for me are important. Fancy cars are not. And that's okay. But you might be conversely. I had a mentor a number of years ago. She loved the fancy cars. That's how she liked to spend her money and reward herself. Conversely, she didn't like to travel as much. I'm not saying one's better than the other, but I want you to think carefully. And I'm sorry for calling stuff dumb stuff. It might not be dumb to you. It might be dumb to other people. It's just something for me to say, hey, listen, think carefully before you buy those things that might take you out of your comfort zone financially. But I want you to also be a visionary. I want you to dream and plan and reward yourself and think about, you know what? If I get to this level, yes, I can see myself driving that car. I can see myself living in that house. I can see myself having these amazing experiences. And that's what drives me. But here's the common denominator. You're planning for it. You're not taking a windfall and being frivolous. You're not making knee-jerk reactions. You are planning to keep and expand upon the money that you earn. And that is the name of the game to building true wealth for yourself and your business.